everyone. Hi Michaela, how are you? Can you hear me okay?
How are you?
He's saying, how are you? So let me show you what we're going to be putting together today. We're going to be assembling this cake topper. If you haven't already, please check out my design tutorial from last week, where you can see how to design this cake topper. Hi Francisca. Great. Okay. Let me know in the comments where you're joining from in the world, what time it is, whether you're a professional or a hobby crafter, whether you're just watching, you're making this cake topper live with me, or you intend to make it. That would be really helpful. I'd like to know a bit about who's on the live and what level you're working at, and if I need to pace, how I need to pace myself. I will be able to watch back as about to go to work. Okay, no worries, Michaela. I'm just trying to get onto YouTube so that I can see the comments. Could you potentially put the tripod for use on your videos? Sorry, I've lost that comment. The way that my phone is displaying, it's really strange. Usually I can scroll back through the comments, but it's not allowing me to do that, so I need to log on another device. Bear with me a second. Can they log me on to YouTube? Sorry guys, I'm just trying to log on an iPad so that I can see your comments because they just disappear. So right, I'm on another device now. Here we are. So I'm not sure, someone said about how the angle is. To be honest, last time when I went live, whereas Instagram and TikTok have you naturally in portrait mode, YouTube in landscape. So when the video saves, there's black lines on either side, which I don't like, and I've tried to find a way to change it, but unfortunately, it doesn't seem to give me the option to film. So I'm just going to log on and see how it looks for you guys. Hopefully the volume's not on because that would be really off-putting. Oh yeah, see, I can see everything now. I can see all your comments. Yeah, so it depends how you're watching. If you're on your phone, it will probably look fine. It will look quite nice. But if you're on your laptop, it's going to look like this, where it has got these things either side. But anyway, it's what it is. We'll make it work. Okay. Could you potentially put the tripod you use for the videos? Oh yeah, sure. The tripod that I use, if you go into my Amazon storefront, I believe I have it linked on there. If you're in the UK, it's not as easy to get hold of on Amazon. It might actually be easier or cheaper to get hold of on eBay. But it's by Archon Mounts, and I think it's called Cookie Decorators one, I think. So custom in Anne's is in Orlando and it's 4 p.m. St. Kitts and Nevis, amazing. It makes me so happy to know that people are joining from all over the world. Okay, well, let's get started. So this is the cake topper. What I'm going to try and do is I'm going to talk you through some alternatives. So you might want to change it slightly, and I'll just talk you through some different ways that you can do it, because obviously you might want to replicate it exactly how I have it, and that's fine, but you might want to put your own spin on it. You might want to mess around, and I really encourage you to do that. If you design something, if you can try and change it slightly just to give you a bit of confidence, if you don't have confidence in your own designs, but you can just maybe try something slightly different out, it's a really good way to start. So I'm going to start with my text. That's what I normally start with when I'm assembling a cake topper. There's no right or wrong way. There's no particular order that you have to do it in. It's just, that's just the order that I prefer to work in. So I normally start with my text first. Usually I find it the most boring part, so I just like to get it out of the way. So I believe that this is about 6 or 7 layers of text, but let's see when we put it all together. And there are lots of these little fiddly eggs that are cut separate. So I like to keep my pieces in a little box like this. I got this from, I think I got it from, I have a Hobbycraft or the range. If you're in the UK, it was like £1. And it comes in 2 sides. So normally what I do is one side I'll have all my cut pieces, and the other side is normally empty. I've put my supplies in this time, but normally the other side is empty. And then once I've assembled a particular part of the cake topper, I just put it in there. It's just a great way to kind of keep everything together, especially if you're like me and you're working in a very small space. It can be very easy to lose things. Hi, Adil Gisa. Apologies if I haven't pronounced your name correctly. So, the first thing I'm going to do is, now I don't know if you guys can see, but on this cake topper, on the letters, there's this dots, these little dots. And for me, I just thought that more reminded me of an Easter egg. I don't know why. So I've actually embossed my letters with an embossing machine. So I'll do that now because I have this really cute small one. Obviously, this is an optional step. You don't have to do this. But I just felt that it looked really cute. So this is the embossing folder that I have. I probably have this on my Amazon storefront. I like this one because it's a bit more fun. It's not so uniform. I have some with dots that are like uniform dots, but this one gives me Easter vibes, but it's also kind of like leopard print sort of, so you can use it in different ways. So because this is quite small, the letters are quite small, I'm just gonna, I believe one is missing, H-A-P-P-Y, oh no, they're all in here. So I'm just gonna add them into the embossing folder. There's no really right or wrong way of doing it, but if you can try and line it up so that you can get the most coverage of the pattern, if that makes sense. So this is, I showed it recently in a reel. This is my,
Daddy?
yes baby? Yes baby? This is my Texture Boutique that I got recently secondhand from eBay for £20. The difference with this one and the one I had before, was a big shot. And with a big shot, you can also use die cuts. So you can cut out all different shapes using die cuts as well. But for me personally, I don't use die cuts, and it was a very big and large machine. And as I mentioned, I have very limited space. So for me, it didn't make sense to keep the big shot. So I've got rid of the big shot and I've just got this small one, Texture Boutique, which is discontinued, but you can buy it secondhand. Well, it's discontinued in the UK. I don't know about in the US, but you can buy it secondhand. It also comes in a plain grey colour as well. This was just the only one that I could find. I would definitely say it's probably, if you're not going to die cut, probably just getting something like this might be more cost effective and space effective than getting a big shot, which is probably about, I don't know, maybe 150 pound. So it really depends. If you are going to use the die cuts, which in the beginning when I first got the big shot, my son used to use the die cuts before he got his Joy, so it actually worked out quite well. So there's different size of folders, embossing folders. So the only thing I would say about this Texture Boutique, which makes it a bit restrictive, is this space here is quite small. So with the big shot, even if you were using the same size folder, say you had a really big circle, you could emboss half of the circle, have the other side hanging out of the folder, and then do the other side. Does that make sense? But this is very small. So that's one of the downfalls, I would say, is if you're trying to emboss something quite big, before you could try and find a way of doing half and half. I'll just quickly show you some of the other embossing folders that I have. They tend to come in this size, which I think is 5 by, see, look, this one is slightly bigger. So this one is 4 inches by 4 inches by 6. Most of them I think are this size, 5 by 7. So they come in different sizes. Obviously you just want to make sure that you don't get one that's too big for your machine, for your embossing machine. I don't have that many. I do have I have like a tiny one here with hearts that's really small. So, I mean, I guess the thing to remember is that this is only really going to emboss very small parts of the card. So this one is big. So this one would have worked with my big shot. Hey, Claudia, how are you? This one would have worked with my big shot, but it will be too big. It will be too big for this machine. So there is a bigger size that you can use with the big shot or other die cutting machines. There's a few that people have sent names of me of, but it just does add a special touch. So that is my embossing, that's my embossing done. So now you can see that all of these letters have got like these cute little dots on them, which I think is quite, kind of gives it Easter feel. So what I'm going to do next is grab some paper, because I'm going to get out my beloved eyeshadow palette to just give these a bit more colour. Again, this is an optional step, but if you look at this, you can see that it just gives a slight dimension. So I'm just going to use some eyeshadow to make these a bit darker. The reason why I say to put paper down is because it can get a little bit messy, and it just saves you having to clean up your workspace. You can just discard the paper afterwards. So I'm going to grab a cotton bud from over here. You could also use dyes as well. I have actually got loads of dyes, but I just never used them, and I think most of them have dried up now. Oh, thanks, Claudia. You too. You always have great tips as well. If you guys are not following Miss Olivia Rose Crafts, you must do on Instagram, and she also has got YouTube videos. So make sure you guys go over to her channel, give her a follow, please. So what I would do with these is just match the color. So, I mean, you can always test out a small bit and see. If you use a color that's lighter, like if I was to use this pink on here, the likelihood is it wouldn't show up. So I'll probably go with this darker pink. And then I'm just going to go around the edges. And just in the middle. There's no right or wrong way of doing it. Then for this, I'm going to maybe grab this purple, go around. So I'll just do the same thing. It just makes it look a little bit more, I don't know, just gives it a bit more depth. I'm going to keep these Q-tips because I'm going to do this again later with the paper flowers. I'm going to use the same colours. So For this one, I'm probably going to use this blue. And then yellow. And then I'll do my OCD. Sorry guys, I really don't like my space being messy. And then I'm going to do this green, darker green. So always go darker, but obviously if you're worried that it's going to be too dark, just maybe test out a little bit first. So I'll put this aside for now. Make sure that Eve doesn't see it because she's obsessed with doing painting, as she calls it. So that is my letters. So now I'm gonna grab all of my layers and start building. I'll do that one at the end. The Easter one I'll show you guys. We'll add that one at the end. So I've got a bit of organised chaos going on here in the background. So I'm just trying to grab as many of my things as I can. I think I have everything. Right, so we're going to start. I'm just going to tidy up some of my cardstock because this is a holographic craft board by Cricut. It's a really nice card, but it's quite thick. So sometimes it doesn't cut all the way through and you kind of just got to tidy it up a little bit. So what is, I'm trying to remember the layers. So the first layer is actually the white one. So I'm going to grab my H, and because I'm going to be building up quite a lot of layers on this, I don't think it's necessary to add foam to this. I mean, you could, but I think that it's fine without it. So I'm using Barely Arts glue. It's got this nice fine tip. You can get this directly from Barely Arts. If you're in the US, Canada, Claudia, you might even have a code, discount code. If you're in the UK, you can buy it from Bumbleberry Crafts, Bumblebee. Every single time I say, I'm gonna check this. But if you go into the highlights of my stories, I've got a supplies highlights on my Instagram, which links them where you can buy it in the UK. I would definitely say it's a well worth investment in my opinion. It lasts for ages and it's the best glue of this type that I've used, and I don't get any affiliates from it. That's a genuine that is a genuine reflection. The other thing is with these, just remember when you're pulling up your mat, pulling up your cardstock from your mat, remember to keep the inside parts of your letters. I know sometimes we can forget and we can discard them. I keep mine in this little cute little pot. It just means I'm less likely to lose them. So you can see I'm going to add this on here. This is actually a glitter cardstock, so you have to actually apply quite a lot of glue. When you're using glitter cardstock, I normally use hot glue, but obviously if I try to do that on the first layer, I'll burn my fingers off and or it's going to look very messy. So, hi Evie. It's alright, don't worry. Yeah, that's Mummy. Look, Mummy's making it. Can you see? Yeah. Eva's coming to see what I'm doing and she's very impressed that Mummy's on YouTube. You see me on YouTube? Is that cool? So, no, Mummy's using that one. Thank you, baby. What's the matter? Oh, thank you. She's 3. And she's very interested in what I'm doing right now. I should be in bed. So I'm just going, because the layers are very small, they're all separate, if that makes sense. All these eggs are separated out. But if you wanted to have less separate parts, you could just make the offset bigger and then until they attach, if that makes sense. So I'm really pleased because I'm obviously going to end up with 2 of these cake toppers. Whenever I do craft alongs, I always end up with 2 of everything. And most cake toppers I actually keep, but or sell and keep to the following year. But my cousin makes cakes. And when she saw this cake topper, she was just like, oh my God, I love it. She always loves anything that has butterflies on it. She's like, oh my God, I love it. I love this cake topper. And then I was just like, come and get it. After Wednesday, when I've done my craft along, because I'll need to show it. So she's going to make a Christmas cake, an Easter cake. And she's going to use, I don't know if you guys have them in the US, but we have what we call mini eggs. And they're like little chocolate eggs, but they're speckled and they're pastel colours. So I'm so excited to see the cake and the cake topper. Are you back? Yeah. So this part is probably a little bit more tedious, but as we go through the layers, it will get a bit quicker and a bit easier. I have to work out how to change this so that it gives you a full, it doesn't matter. Oh, just dropped something. So this can go away now. My glue seems to have dried up a tad. Bless you. So I'm putting a lot more glue on this than you generally need for Barely Arts glue, but just like I said, because it's glitter, it doesn't adhere as easily. Okay, so that's our happy, and the next layer is gold. So now this is where I'm going to start using my foam stickers. So I need to put this up on my Instagram story, but before I started using the colourful foam stickers, these were the ones that I used to use. You can get them on Amazon, but I believe if you're in the US, you can buy these in Dollar Tree, because you guys are lucky and you have Dollar Tree, we don't. But anyway, that's another story. But I didn't buy them recently because I've had like loads of the coloured ones. But I've run out of white ones, and these were actually on offer on Amazon for $1.99. You get 240 of them. So I'm just going to use these today mainly. So what I'm going to do is just apply on each layer. Now what's going to happen is the Easter is very, very thin, so trying to apply foamies to that is going to be quite tricky. So at the end we'll see how it sits and if we need to add any foamies to lift up the Easter a bit so that it's not just not too flat, if that makes sense. Oh my gosh, Kelsey already said that she's going to send me some stuff. The issue is, it's just so, the postage is so expensive. Well, I don't know, from Canada, because my cousin normally sends me stuff from Canada and it's really expensive. He's coming hopefully in the summer and he's going to bring me a few bits and pieces. Like, I really want the little Michael's containers, the ones that you put the confetti and that in. I've got about 8 when I went to Canada last time I bought them, and I wish I'd bought some more. No, we don't. Honestly, our stores are so limited and so expensive in comparison to what you guys have. That's one of the reasons why I actually started doing tutorials, because so many people from the UK were asking me about material recommendations, because the main place that people get stuff is Amazon, and Amazon can be a bit hit and miss. So I did a bit of the kind of market research, as it were, in terms of what's good quality, what's value for money. I mean, I tend to use the stuff that looks good, and that's not always the cheapest stuff, but and try to see if I could find alternatives of things. Like, if I have something from Michael's, can I find an alternative in the UK? Usually no, but so all my Christmases would have come at once if you send me that stuff. So my next layer is this pinky colour, which, why can I not find that? I have to cut it out because I've got the eggs. Seem to be missing a layer, which is annoying. I have no idea where this went, because I have the eggs. So why do I not have the part? Oh, that's very annoying. I might have got rid of it by accident. Oh well, we shall improvise. I'm just going to skip a layer. Ignore me. I'm going to skip a layer because I've lost a layer. I don't know where it went. But I really hate cutting, and I don't want to cut it out again. So it is what it is. Obviously, if I was making this for somebody, this is just for myself. If I was making this for someone, I would recut, but I cannot be bothered to do that right now. I hate when that happens. Oh no, what happened here? Wait. Oh no, I stuck the wrong one down. Oh guys, I did not think this through. It's supposed to be H-A-P-P-Y. Uh-oh. Silly mummy. Don't worry, we'll make it work. We'll make it work. That one can go here. This needs to change. I'm not a very good teacher, am I? In my mind, it was the first egg, so that meant it was the first letter, but obviously not. Anyway, it's fine. It's lucky that it's glitter cardstock, because actually it comes back up quite easily. Oh, I hate when I lose pieces. It really annoys me. I changed the colours on this quite a few times, so I think I probably just thought that was one of the things I wasn't using. Okay. Right, so this needs to come up. Oh, Lord. I know, I'll find it. I know I will. I know I will. That's the worst thing ever. That's why I use these little boxes, but this time when I made this cake topper, because I knew I was doing a craft along, I made 2. I duplicated it and I cut 2 at the same time, which I thought was the right thing to do. And it was to a point, but then I changed the cake topper at the end after I made it. So today I was like, oh, what, I only need to just cut out like a couple of things. And then I started looking and I was like, oh my gosh, why have I just got so many things to cut out? But I'll show you guys when we get to that point where I made changes. And I think, you know, I like to be transparent, and I explained that in the design tutorial. I kind of had to wing it with you guys because I went back into a design and amended it, and that's very hard to teach because then you're going into something you've already made and you're slicing and welding and doing things that just look a bit strange. But that is the reality of crafting, that the way something looks on the canvas doesn't necessarily translate into reality. So, right. So there's one layer missing, but you know, it's not the end of the world. So this, I'm just gonna stick directly on top like this. So I'm just gonna use my glue and stick this directly on. It's very, very intricate. You could, if you can be bothered, add foam strips, but that just seems like way too much hard work for me. So I'm just gonna stick it directly on. And this is an image from Design Space, but if you haven't watched my design tutorial, the Easter was actually down here. It was quite a space between the two, but I like that. I like to move things closer together because it just makes the offsets work a bit better. And means you can have more intricate offsets if the words are closer together. If they're further apart, you need to make a bigger offset to be able to connect the words. So here's a happy Easter, spelled in a correct way. There's one layer missing, so you can kind of see that this back layer is a bit thicker than the rest of the offsets, but it's not the end of the world. You might find that you might have to put a little bit of foamies here on the back if you feel like the Easter is going down a bit too much in comparison to the happy, but I think it looks all right. So that's the first bit done, the text. Let's move on to making the, let's start making the shaker. So when I originally made this, it actually didn't have the clear acetate back. So it wasn't clear like this. I had an Easter egg inside that had different layers on it, like different strips of color. But I don't have that much pastel cardstock, and the colors that I ended up using inside, I felt like they were too dark and it made the cake topper too dark. I wanted it to be like light spring colors, pastel-y colors. So then I decided to change the design and slice this out, and you'll see how that's affected the ears, but I'll go through that with you guys. So this is it. It's really cute. Yeah, it's really cute. My one has a hole in it, so I've lost some of my thing. I need to go back in. It's very light on the confetti. I wanted it to be quite delicate, so I haven't added that much stuff in, but I'll show you a little trick to make sure that you have as much of your confetti at the top rather than it sinking down to the bottom. So we're going to do our shaker. So I'm going to grab my acetate, which is here. Now, if you wanted to do a solid circle in the back, 100% you could do that. You would just have your solid cardstock and you'd add your acetate on top. But I'm going to do it with 2 pieces of acetate. I'm not going to clean my acetate now because I'm being a bit lazy, but you should really clean your acetate. But because so much of it is hidden, you know, it's not really worth it. But if you're going to use anything like tube confetti that has static, make sure you clean your acetate with window cleaner, Windex, window wipes. That will just stop the static. But I'm not using any confetti that has any static in it, so I don't need to clean my acetate. But you should clean your acetate, is best practice. Now, where is my foam tape? Eve's probably got hold of it, and I only have one. So I'm hoping I'm going to be able to find it. If not, we're going to have to improvise. Oh man. Where's my foam tape? You want to wee-wee? Go there then. I have lost my phone. I've lost my foam tape, which is really annoying. I thought I knew where it was, so I didn't get it out beforehand. And you know what? Like Claudia said, you know, I will find it afterwards, and it will. I'm just trying to see if it's dropped down here, where it could be. Okay, I don't have any foam tape. Oh, move it properly. Sorry guys, bear with me a second. We'll have to improvise. I have got these strips, but they are extremely thin, but they're gonna have to do. So I would normally use a foam tape, but I seem to have misplaced it. Damn, I'm trying to think where it could be. Because I really want to show you. I mean, I've got lots of tutorials. I've got lots of shaker tutorials that you can go back and see, but I would really prefer to show you the process as it should be. But you know what? Let me ask, one second. Let me ask my son. Zach, do you have my foam tape? You know, for shakers. Do you have any? Okay. All right. No, he hasn't got it. I thought he might have taken it to use it. Right, we're gonna use the strips because that's all I've got right now. So I've got these strips. These are also on my Amazon storefront. I normally have a foam tape that's slightly thicker, but this can work. These are just quite expensive, so I think that using the foam tape roll is better value for money. And I always want to give you guys the best value for money, but this can work just as well. And if you had the foam tape, you would just apply the same principles. It would just be slightly thicker. And what you need to make sure is that you're not leaving any gaps. Otherwise, your confetti will escape, which you definitely don't want if you're selling a cake topper, because it can be a choking hazard, and also it will go on an edible cake, which is not ideal. So I really don't know where my foam tape's gone. So what I'm gonna do is, now with this shaker, you're only gonna see maybe 1/3 of it at the top here. So there's no point in you filling this up completely, because you're gonna end up wasting a lot of your confetti. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab the main shadow for my cake topper, and I'm gonna kind of work out where will the acetate show, if that makes sense, right? So probably like from across here. So I'm just going to use my finger, and then I'm going mad because I don't know where I've just put the foam tapes behind me for some reason. I'm going to use my finger, and I'm going to try to remember roughly where. So this is the portion here that your shaker is going to show. So I just think it means if it drops down, it's going to drop down, not all the way down to the bottom. You could fill this loads and then you wouldn't have a problem. Your shaker would, your shaker would be full and it would show. But if you want to be a bit more on the intricate side and you don't want to have as much of the confetti, this is kind of a good way. So what will happen is it will just drop to here. So just double check before you go ahead that it's definitely in the right place. So now I'm going to fill up my shaker, but I'm only going to fill it in this section here. Actually work quite well with these. I've not used these before for shakers. I know in the US you guys get really thin foam tape. We can't get that here. So I'm only going to be using 3 different types of confetti. Obviously you can use as much as or as little as you want, but for me personally I wanted it to be like quite light and like little pops of the confetti rather than it completely full. But you could completely flood this, and because we're not doing 2 layers of foam tape, if you fill it up, there will be little space for your confetti and stuff to move around. So that is an option. But I like the idea that you can see the acetate through the back of the cake topper. So I'm just going to randomly add them in now. So I just got gold. These are running very low, and I'm going to only use a tiny bit of this because it's finishing. And then, always try to match your confetti with the colours of your cake topper, ideally, if you can. So I'm going to add in, this is mixed, but I just want the white daisies. I think the pink on this is a bit too dark. So I'm just going to add in the white ones. I don't quite know where I think I got these from the range years and years and years ago. I tried to find some alternatives on Amazon for you guys, but you can just use anything that you have. It doesn't have to be Easter themed, as long as you've got the colors, should work. So I mean, there's absolutely no right or wrong amount to add. Obviously you want to add enough that you're going to see it, but for me, I wouldn't want this to be completely full because you wouldn't see the acetate going through, which defeats the kind of purpose of it. You kind of just got to eyeball it and think. So I think that's probably okay now. Then I'm going to remove my foam tape carefully and add on my acetate on the top. So really, I know the temptation may be to rush with this, but just try and take your time, because if this jumps about, everything's going to go everywhere and going to get stuck to the foam tape, and that's going to affect how the acetate sticks down on the shaker. So just take your sweet time with this bit. Don't do that. Only one stuck, so it's not too bad. If they stick, I mean, you can just pick them up, but can get a bit fiddly. So now I'm going to take my second acetate layer, and then I'm going to add it on top. Try and line it up as best you can. It doesn't have to be perfect, but obviously you want to have it so that the foam tape is meeting both sides of the acetate. And then what I like to do is use my brayer to go over it and just ensure it's like properly. So this one I probably added a bit more in than I did in the other one, but that's the shaker. So it's really a very simple process. It's not complicated at all. This is my preference for creating shakers, is to use foam tape. That's my go-to. There are lots of different ways. I have a tutorial that goes through 3 different methods that you can use to make a shaker cake topper. So you can have a look at that and decide which one is right for you. There's no right or wrong. I just like this personally. So now we're going to do our border. So this is the border that's going to cover our, no, I'm not going to do the border. I'm going to do the border, but I'm not going to attach the border to the shaker. I'll show you why in a minute. But this is what's going to cover your foam tape. And when I did the design tutorial, if you guys watched, I made this slightly bigger. So it's going to actually sit slightly outside of this shape. It's just more forgiving and means that you have to do less trimming down. So that's what I try to do with shakers, is make the border just a little bit bigger than the actual shape using the offset tool. So we're going to attach the border. So let's work on that now. So this is pretty straightforward. You just add this straight down with, I would just add it with glue because it's really thin. If you want to use foam, you can, but yeah, I haven't got time for that. So I'm just going to add it directly on. My glue is leaking a little bit, so I've got a bit of excess coming out there. And you'll notice that how I'm alternating the types of cardstock. So this first cardstock layer is textured cardstock. The next layer is glittered cardstock. The final layer is mirror. Try and alternate. Like here where I've got the glitter on the glitter on the glitter, I wouldn't normally do that because you just lose some of that glitter without having the contrast. But I was a bit limited in my colour choices with pastels. And then I would have had a layer in between here, which would have been mirror, but somehow that got lost. So I'm adding this on, it's pretty straightforward. And then I'm going to use some foam to make this a little bit higher. As I mentioned before, on my Amazon storefront, you can find these strips. Let's see if I have any of them. They're actually a godsend because you have to do a lot less cutting. That's a red colour. I'm trying to see if I have a colour that matches the colour. I don't think I have any left. That's green. I mean, it doesn't have to be exactly the colour. I can't find a colour to match that, so I'm just going to use the same orange one that I was using before. And then I'm just going to add the foam strips, but not all the way round, just honestly, I keep putting stuff down and I don't know where I've put it. How can you lose things that are right next to you? So I've lost that orange foam tape, so we'll have to go with a different colour. Now, this is a grey one. So I'll just normally just add it like to the edges, the top and the bottom. It doesn't need to go all the way around. You can make it go all the way around if you want to, but I think it's just a waste of them foamies, because this will look fine without going all the way around. So gonna go on here, try and center it as best you can, and then this is the border, so it will look like this. But I'm not going to put this, I'm going to put this behind my shadow. So you would have created a shadow. I'm just looking to see how I did it because I can't quite remember if I did it like that or not. Or if I stuck it on top. I'm checking, I can't remember how I did it. No, I did actually stick it on top. So that's what we'll do. I did actually stick it on top. But before we do that, we'll connect these two. I'm going to use this Barely Arts Beacons 3-in-1 glue. I like this one because it's quite slidey. So if I'm connecting something that's quite big that I need to slide into place, this is a little bit more forgiving. Now, it's very messy because I left it upside down earlier to get the last dredges of it out, and I forgot to close the lid, so it's gone everywhere, so it's not in the best state. Yeah, well, it doesn't matter, but just be careful with your glue strings. There really is something about a clear acetate shaker. I don't know what it is, but it really just looks so nice. Like more delicate, more intricate. Sorry, my glue is going everywhere. When this is dried, I will clean this up a little bit better. I'll use my thing. So this is going to be our shaker. I'll wait for that to dry, and then I'm just going to use something to clean off the excess glue. So, so now we've done our text, we've done our shaker. Now we're going to move on to doing our feet and our ears. So if you watch my design tutorial, you will see that I spoke a bit about just changing the design. So originally, I was supposed to have a solid shape like this as the back of the shaker, right? So what I had planned to do was, I was like, okay, I'll do it like this. Doesn't really matter what I'll do. I'll just stick these ears. If it goes in here, it doesn't matter, because I'll just stick it behind. So I thought, oh, I'll stick it behind. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, because you're going to have a solid shape. However, I changed it when I was assembling, decided I didn't want the solid and I wanted the clear. Now, if I was to put this clear shaker, which now I don't know where I've put, but if I was to put the clear shaker, put these ears on top of here like this, it will come down, you see, and then it would get in the way of the shaker. So when I showed you guys how to do it in the tutorial, I actually sliced it in the design. But as I said, I'd already cut these and I hate cutting. I'm not cutting again. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut them manually. But yours, if you've designed it as I've told you to, you won't need to cut these because these will already be sliced out. But just to make my life a little bit easier, I'm going to cut. So basically what I'm doing is, I don't want this bottom part. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to go in and check. See, it's still too long. Still too long. So I'm going to grab all 3 sections. I'm going to try and line them up and roughly cut. Try to cut it obviously not too short. So I think that should be about right. I hope I'm not confusing you guys with this, but sometimes this is what happens. When we do tutorials, we usually are making the thing for the first time ourselves. So there is an element of kind of trial and error, even for people that do tutorials. So that should work now. So with these, did I add foamies? Yes, I did. So I'm going to add foamies to each layer. Now, the first time I made this, I recut these ears in a white glitter because I just felt that there was a better contrast, but I didn't cut them again because, as I said, this is just going to be for me. So this is the ear. So I've added my foamies on. And then this is just going to stick straight down onto here. Again, I'm going to use my Beacons glue for this because it covers a wider surface area, but also it's slidey, so I can slide the ear into place. It's a bit string. It's not normally this stringy. It's because I've compromised the glue today, the way I was storing it. So I'm going to stick this directly down onto my ears, and then I'm going to repeat the same process with the other side. So I'm just going to go in like this, and then I'm going to check how long I want it to be. Still too long. That's about right. Sorry, I need to clean my... I cannot have stuff. I cannot have stuff when I'm working. It really stresses me out. Right. And then I'm just going to do the same with the foamies on this side. I might add a couple here because this ear is slightly wider or longer, depending what angle you're looking from. Do you find the Beacons glue is a strong hot? The Beacons glue is very strong. Yeah, I would say it probably is as strong as the hot glue. Not as strong. I think hot glue is always going to be the strongest, but I have stuck things down. Like normally, if I'm, yeah, you could replace hot glue with Beacons glue. Obviously, you don't have the convenience of it drying as quickly, but it's a very strong glue. It's a very strong glue. And I love the smell of it, which probably sounds inappropriate, but every time I open it, I'm just like, oh, it smells so good. So let me know what craft along you would like me to do next, what theme. What have we got coming up? It doesn't have to be a theme, but it doesn't have to be a holiday. I'm going to be honest, I'm struggling to keep up with everything. I work full time. I've got 3 children. I've got care for my dad, and I'd have this business on the side. And YouTube, I really want to work on my YouTube, but Claudia, if she's still here, will let you know that it takes... Go on, go do wee-wee there. Go on. Sorry, 1 second. Go on, quickly. Are you going to use the potty? Go and do wee-wee on the potty. Good girl. On average, a YouTube video for me to record, make the thing that I need to make, edit, it probably takes me about 2 straight days of work. And I really don't have the time at the moment. So I find the craft alongs is a good way for me to still kind of offer tutorial style, but it doesn't require as much work, to be frank. So the feet, I'm just going to add the first layer on directly to the second layer just with glue. My glue's gone a bit weird, but normally I just do little dots. And then I'm going to use foamies here. To stick it down like this. And then this is going to go here. Again, I'm going to use my Beacons glue. You could use the Belly Arts glue here because it's a bit of a smaller area, but so I'm going to stick it directly down onto my shadow and then just kind of slide it into place, and I'll just repeat the process on the other side. Oops. Eve doesn't go to bed without me, so she's just chilling, waiting for me to finish. I didn't stick that one on quite straight. Let's do that again. The one thing I did forget to tell you guys to do in a design tutorial was to duplicate the back. I'll show you why you have to do that. It's not just about covering the stick. It's just going to give the cake topper a bit more sturdiness. Now, where is my shaker? Honestly, guys, I feel like I'm losing my mind. I put my shaker down somewhere, and it can't be that far, and I can't see it anywhere. Are you whistling? Oh wow, you're so good at whistling. Did you take my shaker? Did you take my shaker? Honestly, I'm so confused. Like I just had it. Where could it have gone? Can't have gone very far. Oh, here it is. Sorry, it's underneath. It was underneath something. So I'm going to clean this up a bit. Be careful, be gentle with it, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. She's taken by the other cake topper, the one that I've already made.
Little bunnies.
There's a little bunnies, yeah.
A.
I'm just looking for... that's what I'm looking for. So this is like a magic eraser, and you can use this to remove glue residue. So I've just got a little bit of glue residue here. So I'm just gonna clean this off. If you're in the US, you can find these in Dollar Tree. If you're in the UK, you can find them linked to my Amazon storefront. Obviously more expensive than Dollar Tree, but they last for a long time. So now I'm gonna add this on top like this. What I might just do is, because these feet are a little bit raised, I think I'm gonna add a little foamy here, here, and here, just to make it a bit more even. And I'm just going to use a bit of hot glue to connect it. You've got to move quite fast. I won't do the feet yet, but you have got to kind of move a bit fast with the hot glue.
It's broke.
I just like to reinforce with hot glue just to be sure that everything's stuck down as you want it to be. I probably will put another foamy at the bottom here to just close it down at the bottom. So it might look a bit weird at the moment because we're going to stick things on top, but this is like the main body of the cake topper. So now let's do our grass, which is pretty straightforward. For our grass, you're going to have 3 grass. One is going to be the long part of the grass. This we welded this and this together, I think, if I remember rightly. We welded this and this together to get just a bit more sturdiness and a bit more dimension. I'm not sure which one goes where. I don't think it really matters. So I'm going to use my foamies to stick this down. And I might have to adjust this. I think when I made it, the grass didn't sit quite right, and I had to kind of adjust it. Yeah?
It's broken.
Was it broken? Oh, I also forgot. Oh dear. To add a little bit of Just be careful. I hope you're not saying my cake top is broken.
Yeah.
Huh? Bring it to mummy, please. Let me see. Sorry, I forgot to add a little bit of colour here to the grass. Again, this is optional, but just gives it a bit more dimension, a bit more movement. And then this one, you'll find the shadow for it behind. So this one, did I use foamies or did I just stick it down? I think I'm just going to stick this one down because it's really thin. So then you just line that up like so. I think it was supposed to be the other way. The other one was supposed to be on top. Doesn't matter. So that's the grass done. So now we can start doing the building. So this will go here, and then your Happy Easter will go here. Yeah, so I remember when I made this, you guys won't have the same issue because I've rectified it, but there was a bit of a gap here. So I just ended up moving this down a bit, which meant it wasn't lined up, but it was fine. It still looked okay. It actually looks like there's more layers of grass, because what was happening was you could see where the two grass meet, which I didn't think looked very good. But when I designed it with you guys, I made sure that you didn't have that issue, the same issue that I have. I'm just going to add a bit more glue. Why is my cake topper separated, please? So Eve has destroyed my cake topper. Bring it to mummy, please. Bring it to mummy, please, because I have to give that one to cousin Sasha. It's okay. It's just the foam at the back came off. That's all right. Mama can fix it, yeah? It's just the backing came off because I didn't add hot glue to it. Right. Hopefully she doesn't want it again. So, you can line up your grass using the shadow. So the easiest one here is you can see that this is where the shadow goes. And then I'm gonna stick this down. Probably won't use hot glue because I'm not convinced that I'm gonna get it exactly where I need it to be. Eve, are you gonna be gentle? Are you gonna be gentle? Careful, please. Take it then.
Thank you.
Yeah, but you need to be gentle. I'll have to make you some Easter craft stuff then. Right, so I'm going to stick this down. I'm just going to stick it directly on here. Because this is going to go quite up, you can build that. You don't, like, the layers are coming up every time, so you don't need to add foamies to every single layer. Obviously, if you want to, you can, but I don't think it's necessary. So then we're gonna line up the Easter one. Now this Easter one, you are gonna have to put some foamies at the bottom because otherwise the Easter is gonna sit too flat. But again, what I would do is be gentle. I'm gonna use my Beacon's glue, and I might go in again afterwards with some hot glue once I'm happy with where it's positioned. Can I see that one, please? I want to see if I added foamies. No, I didn't. I just stuck it straight down. Okay, that's fine. You can take it now. Be gentle, gentle. So, I didn't add foamies to this. Just stuck it straight down. Bless you, baby. And then what I would do is slide it down, make sure it's in the right place. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add at the bottom here, just underneath the S. You can see it's a bit floppy. You might want to go in afterwards here and add in some hot glue, but let me do this bottom part first. So I'm going to add one foamy, see how it looks, if it's high enough. And you have to also make sure that the foamy is not sticking out. So one foamy seems to be sufficient. This has gone a bit warped. I think where it's so thin and intricate, it's kind of almost lost its shape. So I'm just gonna use my glue to just try and align it a bit better than it's currently aligned. The good thing about this glue is that it dries clear, so try not to worry too much about you know, if you can see the glue or not. So now that's most of the kind of main part of the shaker done. What we'll do now is we'll add our offsets, and then we'll do the butterfly and the flower, which is kind of the icing on the cake. So I'm going to add my first offset, which I've done as blue. I am going to use hot glue. That's what I didn't do. I didn't do that with the one that Eve's got, and it's coming apart. So I'm going to add hot glue. Once I've put it down and I'm happy with, I'm going to stand up so I can make sure I line it up correctly. It's very hard to do this when I'm looking at my phone as well. This is quite a thin offset. I think when I did the design, I thought the offset's going to be slightly bigger than this one, but so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back in, and I'm going to use hot glue underneath the foam, the bottom of the foamies, just to make sure it's properly secure. Oops, don't want that to come out. just reinforces it. Optional step, but better to be safe than sorry. And then I'm going to add my next offset. And it's such a shame because this pastel cardstock is from Cricut. It's a glitter, what's it called? Glitter pastel sampler. And in the UK, we are having massive issues with getting hold of Cricut cards. So even when I'm doing work with Cricut UK, they haven't got any card to send me, which is really sad. There are some environmental laws that we have in Europe with regards to biodegradable materials, and the US made cardstock does not meet our standards. So we cannot ship a lot of the cardstock from Cricut US to Cricut UK or Europe. So that's quite depressing. So you guys over there in the US and Canada, honestly, you don't know how good you have it. You don't know how good you have it. We've just got so many issues. So I'm going to use a hot glue again. And I'm just going to go back in under the foam stickers and just make sure that everything is secured down, because nobody wants floppy cake topper or floppy ears. Okay, so here is like the main bulk of the cake topper. Now you could stop here if you want. You don't have to add the butterfly and the flower, that is optional, but obviously it does look super cute and super pretty. So now let's do our butterfly. So originally when I made this butterfly, I was just going to have the white backing, but then when I looked at it, I was like, oh, it looks a bit drab, looks a bit boring. And I've never tried to use eyeshadow on glitter card. I normally use it on like pearlescent or textured, but I thought, why not? So what we're going to do, and again, this is optional. You could stick this down directly if you wanted to, but I quite like the flappiness. And I think when you add the thing that makes it wobble, having that up just makes it look a lot cuter. So just fold your card. It might crease a little bit, but no one's really going to notice that. And then stick this down. So this glitter cardstock is actually from the UK. It's a brand called Italian Options. It's really, really gorgeous glitter card. Not the cheapest, not by a long shot, but it's really good quality. So if you're based in the UK, have a look at my Amazon storefront. I don't know if they sell it in the US. This is from Michael's, and I have hardly any of it left. And this is also really, really gorgeous. So what I'm going to do now is grab my Q-tip, and let me get this cake topper while he's not looking. And then what I did was I just was like, but look, it's falling apart. Look, Mummy, do the hot glue, because it's broken. Look. Oh yeah, it's broken. It's okay, don't worry. You want Mummy to fix it? Let me add hot glue because this keeps coming up. You got an idea? You got an idea? No. This is very hot. Okay, really hot. Sorry, I'm just fixing the other cake topper that Eve's playing with for her because the back layer of it came off. So I'm just using hot glue to fix it into place. Right, should be okay now. Should stay in place. There's a hole in it as well, so things are coming out. So what I did was, no right or wrong way. I think I started with purple, but it doesn't matter. I just use the cardstock, use the use the wings as a guide. So like you see here where there's a couple of holes, I just made that purple, and then I just random made the next one pink. Made that pink. Then I went on to the next one. I'll do that one green. I don't know which green. I'll just use a darker green because I probably should use the lighter green, but anyway, don't matter. So that's the green. And then I use, let's do yellow. This is random. And then lastly, I will do blue. Do this blue. So I'll probably use a slightly darker green there than I should have, but anyway. I wonder if I can go over it with a lighter green. Would that look weird? I don't think that's gonna work. Yeah, I used a darker green. I should have used a bit lighter, but anyway, it doesn't matter. So that's the, let me do the blue a bit better, because that doesn't look as... I'm going to add hot glue, because this is like a white glitter card. It really isn't sticking down. So I'm going to use some hot glue just to make sure that it's properly connected. And that's the butterfly. I'll show you how I connect it and make it wobble in a second once we've finished that bit. So now let's do the last bit. Last but not least, let's do our flowers. So for the flowers, you will have 2 bigger petals, and then you'll have 3 smaller petals. So again, no right or wrong way of doing it. Just go around the edges of your flower with the different colours. Just go around the edges. Then I'm going to use this, which is called a Yule, but you can use a skewer or even a pencil. But I like this. It's pretty cute. And then I'm going to fold the petals down. So I'm going to fold the petals down on the first 2 layers. You'll see that that will make the flower have more height. If you were to fold it up, it would just go, I don't even know how to describe it. It would just go directly flat down. That's why I like to do it like that. And then I'm going to do the purple. I don't think I'm using the same colours as I did with my other one, but it doesn't really matter. And again, I'm going to fold down. Now, Cricut Design Space doesn't have as many amazing paper flowers as, like, for example, Creative Fabrica has got some really nice ones, and I found a new one that I've used in my most recent, let me show you guys if you haven't seen already. This is my wedding cake topper that I've made for XOXO Craft Girls, but this paper flower is so gorgeous. It's from Creative Fabrica. But when I do my design tutorials I don't want to give you guys SVGs that you need to buy. I want to give you ones that are free in Design Space, or not free, but if you have access. So this flower is okay. It's not the best paper flower. So then I'm just going to stick it down, and then I'm just going to continue with the colours. So I'm doing each layer. Okay, you could skip this and you could just have a white flower, or you could cut each of these petals out in a different cardstock if you really love cutting. I don't, hence why I do this. And this one I'm going to fold up. So that's what's going to give you more dimension, is the not having all of the flowers folded, rolled in the same way. Then let me do green. Let me do the light green this time. The actual light green, not the dark green. Be careful here because I'm mixing my colours a little bit. So try to avoid doing that. So then I'm going to fold up again. So I tend to fold the bottom 2 or 3 down, depending on how many layers I have of the bigger size, and then I go up. So the last colour, I think I will do yellow. Is it a goat? What does the goat say?
Honey, 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 honey.
So then I'm going to fold up again. Now, when I make my paper flowers, I normally add those really beautiful pearl embellishments. But for this cake topper, it just didn't really feel right because this is more playful and fun. You know, it's not a wedding cake topper. It's not anything, you know, where there's loads of gold. It's more kind of playful. So I found this center, which I'm going to add in here. Actually, I'm thinking before I do that, let me add my foil flakes. So I added the foil flakes afterwards, and I always just like to just do it the same way that I did it. You could probably add the foil flakes to each layer, and I don't know, I don't think it would look any different, but I don't want to do it and then it doesn't look the way that it did in the original one, so I'm just going to copy. So I've got my foil flakes. No, I love my foil flakes, guys. I'm obsessed with them. Just put little dots of glue and then just literally press down. Like there's absolutely no right or wrong way of doing this. And again, this is an optional step. You could just skip this completely, but it does make it look a little bit more special.
Honeys.
Is it honeys? So it is a little bit messy, but my gold one is running not low, but I mean, you can get this on Amazon, but if you're in the US, I think it's probably cheaper to go to like Hobby. I think there's somewhere that I saw Kelsey Dinosaur Mama bought a massive jar for $3. I can't remember if it was from, maybe it was from Dollar Tree. Every time you guys go to Dollar Tree, just think of me. Think of my trauma of not being able to get hold of these things easily and cheaply.
Glasses.
You put your sunglasses on. So I'm just like grabbing random bits. I'm just putting glue and then I'm just like patting it down. And then what you might find is after you've done that, it might kind of make your flower a bit flat. So just go back in, especially on that bottom layer, and just refold. Just refold a little bit.
Glasses. You like glasses?
You like glasses, and then on the top one, just go in and just like fold it up again. It might be easier to just do this before the foil flakes, but
Grandpa.
is it Grandpa? Oh, the Gruffalo's got the glasses on. So your fingers are going to get a bit messy. Now I'm going to add in my centre. And I'm going to use a gem in the middle. But again, that's an optional step. but I'm going to use this pink gem just because I think there's a bit of a contrast between the gold and the pink. This one looks huge. I don't know why this is so big. My other flower center is not this big. But anyway, I have no idea why that's so big. Evie, bring me the cake topper. Bring me the butter is here. Bring me the bunny. Where's the bunny cake topper? Bring it to Mummy, let me see. Can I see? Yeah, bring it to Mummy. Let me have a look, please. Oh, you're so good at listening. Okay.
Oops, sorry.
I have no idea why this is so big. I actually cut this out today, and I wonder if the sizing went a bit off. So this should be smaller. But anyway, guys, you know I'm not going to cut again. Thank you, baby. So you can see on this one it's smaller.
Oh.
I don't know what's happened.
I like painting.
You like painting, do you?
I like the rainbows. I love the rainbows.
You like rainbows?
Like the
Okay, Mummy's nearly finished now, okay? Let Mummy finish.
colors.
You want to do some of this one?
Yeah.
Do you want to do this one? Okay, please try not to mix the colours. Sit down here. Let me get you some paper.
Good.
So I don't know why that's like that. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. That's how it looks. Right. So now let's do the construction. So the placement of it is, this is going to go here,
That's the yellow.
and then the
Mix the colors. Orange.
this is going to go here. So let's do our flower first.
Orange.
We're going to need to add some foam stickers, probably about 3, I would say, maybe. I have no idea why this one looks so big. It's so bizarre. It's so strange, but anyway. And then I'm going to get my leaves. And I'm just going to stick them on the back. No right or wrong way. Just kind of do it in a way that... What have you done? So I actually, on the other cake topper, I have 4 leaves. Eve, you can't take it on the sofa. You have to do it on the floor or on the table.
Yeah.
Okay, so where are you going to do it? Not on the sofa.
Yeah.
No, not on the sofa. You want to go at the table? You want to sit on your chair? Okay.
Sorry.
So, I'm just going to stick the leaves randomly. Anyway, there's no right or wrong way.
Go.
Then I'm going to add my butterfly. So for this, I'm going to use this, which is called an Action Wobble Spring. So what I would suggest doing is just before you stick it down, just give it a little stretch, and that will make sure that you get the maximum amount of wobble, I guess, from it. You can stick any. I normally stick this side down to the base and this side to the element that I want to wobble. So just be careful, don't do that. And make sure that you stick it somewhere where you cannot see the base of the Action Wobble Spring. So I'm gonna stretch it out, but be careful, don't be too aggressive because it can snap. And then on the back here it has like a double adhesive layer. And you could, if you don't have an action wobble spring, you could just stick this down with some foamies. This is just more if you want to have that like wobble effect. And then just stick it directly down to your acetate. And then you can see that it kind of wobbles, which is quite cute. So that's basically the cake topper with the weird center there, which I don't know what happened. Because this cake topper, the stick is going to go like here, and you want to make sure that it's got some security, but also to cover the stick, duplicate your back layer. I'm just using craftboard because I'm trying to be more economical with my cardstock for the reasons that we've discussed. So my one doesn't match the color of the theme, but it doesn't, you shouldn't really see it in theory. So take your stick and stick your stick as kind of high up as you can. Obviously you want to leave enough space for it to go into the cake. You don't want to stick it down here, because if you do, the cake is going to be very unstable. So I use hot glue. And just stick it in between here. Turn it around, make sure it's straight. Then what I normally do is I get my foamies, I add them all around. So look, I mean, you could do it without the back, but it's not as sturdy as I would like. You'll be surprised how adding the back in can make such a difference. So I'm going to line it up as best I can. And then I'm going to go in with my hot glue and make sure that it's secure. Make sure that the foamies are secure. So here, what I think I'm going to do is also put some hot glue underneath here. You have to be quite careful, but it will be at the front and it will just connect it more and it will just be more secure. Is it B? So here is the finished cake topper. That's the back, so you can see the back.
Why?
You can see its shape. You can see our little friend here. And it is a super cute cake topper. I'm going to keep this. I'm going to keep this one and probably frame it, but I will change this thing because that's going to drive me up the wall. But I'm going to probably keep this and frame it. And then the other one that I've made, I'm going to give to my cousin. So you should see some videos with pictures soon of that on of the cake topper on a cake. Cake toppers are designed to go on cakes, guys, but you'd be surprised how many of my cake toppers do not go on cakes. So it really makes me happy when I get to put my cake toppers on cakes. Yeah, thank you, Francisca. Thank you for staying with me for the whole hour and 40 minutes. Yeah, say thank you. And thank you, Eve. You've been such a good girl, haven't you? Yeah, and if you do make this, or if you are inspired by it or any of my cake toppers, please tag me on Instagram, send me pictures. It really makes me happy. I had somebody say to me on TikTok today that they used one of my design space projects, which I think was the B one. Can't remember what that was. Be kind or something like that. It was a random acts of kindness, and they told me that that was the first cake topper that they sold, and I was like, oh wow, that really makes me happy. So I hope you enjoyed the live. Thank you for being patient with me when I've lost all of my all of my things, and the fact that I have a 3-year-old running around. But yeah, thank you for staying with me. For those of you who joined for some and all of it, I really appreciate. If you can, you know, after this live will be saved. So if you can go back in afterwards and add any comments or anything, because people who watch it back won't be able to see that. So yeah, if you want to just add any comments, and again, it helps my channel. So thank you so much, and I will hopefully see you guys at the XOXO Craft Girls, where I'll be making the cake topper. You can get free tickets where you can get 2 free files out of the 12 projects. You can watch all of the lives. So I would definitely say it's worth getting the free ticket. And then if you want to get a VIP pass, which you can also get after the event, you will have all 12 projects. You'll get all the SVGs, which this is my first SVG that I've actually designed in Inkscape. So it is suitable for Cricut and Silhouette users, which was interesting, but I'm glad that I pushed myself and tried to kind of get a bit out of my comfort zone. So it's definitely worth coming, even if it's just a free one. Please come along. You'll see me. I have to talk for a little bit and show my face, which I don't normally do so much, and then we'll get into the making. So yeah, if you are interested in that event, just head over to the link in my bio. It will take you directly to Useless Crafters website, where you can get your free pass or your VIP tickets to this amazing event. There's some really like phenomenal crafters. I'm going to be going on with A Mother's Craft is going to be doing my cake topper with me, which I'm just like fangirling because I just love her so much. And then I'm going to be making 3D letters with Sienna's paper crafts or paper decor. Oh, I can't remember the exact name, but yeah, I'm also fangirling over her. So I think I'm more excited than the audience is, just to be able to engage with some of these crafters that I really look up to and I'm really inspired by. And the Useless Crafter contacted me. If you don't follow the Useless Crafter on Instagram, YouTube, do it immediately. When I first started making cake toppers, she was the person who every single week without fail had tutorials. She was so helpful. I had my little subscribe button on. Anytime she did a video, I watched it straight away. And she helped me so much. So when she reached out to me and asked me to do the event, it was like the circle had closed and I just could not believe it. But yeah, if not, please go and follow Useless Crafter, follow Miss Olivia Rose for tutorials, follow True Paper Love for tutorials. There's so many amazing paper crafters out there that are doing so much for you guys for free. And also some of them have subscriptions, £5 or $5 a month. You can get exclusive content. So there's loads of things that you can do to kind of step your game up, if you want, as it were. Can I see that one? Look, we've got twins. Look, we've got 2 now. So now we've got two. Which one? Now you've got 2 to break. Amazing. But anyway, guys, on that note, it's 11:15 here and my 3-year-old is still wide awake. So I'm going to go and get her to bed. But yeah, thank you guys for joining my live, and hopefully I'll be able to do some more soon in the near future. Take care. Bye-bye.
Surprise!
Surprise.
Wow.
Oh.